Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Are We There Yet? Can I say a massive thank you once again for all your comments and your shares on our previous episodes. We are having such a ball on season 2, and I cannot wait for you to hear the podcast today on my next guest, because you know the way when you think of your local pharmacist, they can have a reputation for being kind of serious and quite stuffy. And this lady couldn't be further from the stereotype. In fact, she travels around Ireland with her vulva puppet in her handbag. She has over 340,000 women following her on Instagram. They tell her their deepest, darkest secrets. She is a woman's woman. She is a fabulous pharmacist. It's Miss Laura Dowling. She is in the Are We There Yet podcast studio. It is so great to see you.
Fab.
And listen, look at Fabulous. You've even matched your outfit to my branding.
I deliberately. I was like, it's navy, isn't it? I'm going to go purple and navy.
Oh, you look amazing,
Thank
may
you.
I say. So I turned up to do your podcast, and you've got this gorgeous purpose-built studio. Your mom happened to be there at the time.
With a cup of tea.
She welcomed me, right? Cup of tea, like the most brilliant assistant in the world, scones. And all I had to give back to her, and I don't know why I did this. I had a half-eaten fucking chicken sandwich in my handbag. Excuse my language. And I don't know what, I just decided to give it to her. And I said, somebody might eat that.
I know. And my dad did eat it. But we were laughing about the fact that it was a half a sandwich that you came with. It was so funny. But my dad said, maybe tell her the next time to bring the full one, because it was actually very tasty. But my dad ate it and said, tell your guests that was lovely.
So honestly, that has kept me awake at night. Like, I'm already, as a perimenopausal woman, having trouble sleeping. So I went to Dunn's and I got this apple tart for your mother, your father. It's wrapped.
And it's full.
I haven't eaten a slice out of it. It's full. It's wrapped.
There's no teeth marks.
So please give that to them. Honestly,
thank you so much.
When I was driving out, I was like, you know the way you do shit like that? I was like, why did I just do that?
They'll appreciate
Why
that.
did I give them half a sandwich?
Whenever they see you now, they're like, oh, she's the one that came up with half a sandwich.
And I've met your mom a couple of times since. She's such a lady. She is such a dote. And even the last time I met her, I was like, oh my God, like all I could think of was handing her my half-eaten sandwich. So anyway, that is for your mom.
They'll appreciate that. Dad loves an ale tart. Always has done.
Come here. I mean, meeting your mom, like she is such a gorgeous person. Very different to you, I would say. She seems quite quiet, quite reserved. She's a Nordy accent as well. I didn't know that you grew up in Dublin. Like, people know you as the fabulous, gorgeous pharmacist who probably curses it too much.
Oh, yeah.
And goes around with your vulva puppet. But you grew up in Dublin.
Born and bred in Dublin, born in Hollow Street, brought back to the house that my parents now live in and have done forever. Dad and mum came from the north, and they moved down, I think, around in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then I was born in 1980. But my uncle lived with us from when I was 2.
And he was from the north as well.
He was from the north too, and he was 12. He was orphaned. So I had 3 really strong northern accents growing up. But none of my brothers and my sister have it.
Okay.
It's only me. So when Rachel and I, my sister, go online together and do the Q&A, people are like, how do you have such different accents? So I don't know. Like, people say, oh, are you like musically wonderful? And I'm not. I'm tone deaf. Like, I used to think I was a great singer, but I just would shout and project my voice loudly rather than actually sing the tune. So no. Okay. I don't know how I have it.
Well, probably because you were the eldest child, were you? So then that was the only accents that you were listening to.
This is
for
it,
those early
absorbing
years,
it all.
absorbing it all like a little sponge.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful accent though. It's very soft.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love it.
I know people don't know where I'm from. They're like, is it Monaghan? Is it Dundalk? Could it be Donegal?
Yeah,
but no, it's actually Dublin.
Yeah. Dublin born and bred.
This is it.
So listen, everybody will know you. You are the Fabulous Pharmacist. They will know you from your Instagram page, which has become a sort of a phenomenon. It is a very safe space for women to come to. You are just yourself, nothing else. I don't think you could be anybody else but yourself.
Be exhausted trying to be someone else.
I know. But it has become a very safe and inclusive space for women to come to. Like, was there a moment that you realized that you wanted to go that direction, that it was lacking? Like, how did the Instagram page all kick off? Like, how did it all start?
So I was posting for a few years on Facebook with just like pictures and writing.
Mm.
And then I discovered Instagram stories about a year before COVID. And I was like, oh, this is deadly. You can get your personality across. You're not just writing about drugs and how they can help a certain illness. So I started just recording from the dispensary. And I didn't ask my bosses because I figured, ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
Yeah.
So
Best
I started
piece of advice
doing
I've ever
it.
got, actually.
Yeah. So I started doing it, and then COVID hit. So the women that were coming to me into the pharmacy for vaginal and intimate health stuff and all the menopause stuff, because I kind of became known in the area as the pharmacist to go to if you have any of those issues. They couldn't come into me anymore because obviously with COVID everything was kind of shut down, and we weren't encouraging people into the pharmacies. So I just started posting about the stories that they would tell me or about the issues that they had on my stories and then on my posts, and it just kind of took off from there. Like they would look at them, share them with their friends. So it was kind of like a very organic thing that happened. Like up until then I had about 300 followers. I kid you not. And then it just went wild
Just
overnight.
exploded.
Yeah.
And where was your community pharmacy? Where were you based?
In Stillorgan.
And still are?
Yeah. So I don't work there anymore. I do the odd locum, maybe once every 1 to 2 months, just to stay involved in pharmacy in terms of like all the stock, out of stocks, all the new drugs and stuff like that, to keep in there. And I'm on working groups, but I don't practice as a pharmacist full time anymore at all, or even part time.
And I mean, where would you get the time between the supplements, the book, the tours, the shows?
Yeah.
I mean, it is like you've taken the brand and the business and moved to the next level in terms of being nominated for the EY Awards last year as well. I mean, it's just you're riding such a wave at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose. And then when you're on that, I think you just have to keep going because it's going to crash eventually, isn't it? It's going to plateau or
not,
or it could be cancelled. I'm just
that's more likely to happen.
I'm just one post away from being cancelled. I'm sure of it. So yeah, so it and it's great and it's exciting, but it's also tiring. But it's all been really organic. Like I had no idea it would go this way. No idea.
And let's just go back to those women that were coming into you. How did you become the woman that it sort of, the whisper started to spread if you've got thrush, if you've got any intimate health issues? Like, were you the only female pharmacist in the area? Was that it?
No, there was another couple of pharmacies in the area, but I think it may be because I would speak to women the way I speak online. So I wouldn't really use very much medical terminology.
Just very direct.
I'd take a look at them if they needed me to. I'd send them in the right direction if they needed, wherever they needed to go in terms of doctors or gynae care or gum specialists, which is not dentists, it's actually genital urinary medicine specialists. And I wouldn't be afraid to talk to them about things. So for instance, if an older woman, saying that one in her 60s came in and she was getting vaginal estrogen, which is because she has atrophy of the vagina or dry vagina or sex is uncomfortable, I'd go out to her with the prescription and I'd say to her, I'd tell her to use it first of all, and then I'd go, are you using a lube when you're having sex? So I just say it like that, and I wouldn't go, oh no, I'm just going to ask you a little question,
when you're being intimate with your partner.
Yeah,
no, you just say it.
I just say it like that, and after the initial shock wore off, she was usually generally delighted because she's like, oh God, no, I couldn't possibly use. Like the thought is that lube is a bit kinky and a bit saucy, and a 66-year-old woman shouldn't be using lube. It's all for porn. So I'd just say, listen, I've never known any man to turn a woman down when she offered him lube for better sex. So go for it, and I just pick one off the shelf and shove it in her bag.
Yeah.
And so I think it was that. And then maybe, look, the power of women's voices. So she just went off to a coffee morning and told a few of her friends. So then they all come into me, oh, listen, I hear you're the one that talks about fannies all the time. So that's really the way it happened. Just straight talking, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, you go from that to then sitting opposite Tommy Tiernan on RTE1 on national television, talking about women's vulvas. That brilliant story that I think stays with so many women and men that watched that night about how you changed that woman's life. And she was well into her 70s at that point.
But there's loads of women like that. And actually after the Tommy Tiernan interview, I've got so many emails in from women that I suppose they wouldn't follow me on Instagram or anything like that.
Yeah.
Older women's daughters and sons that are in their 50s and their mother's 90 and has been dealing with this issue and saw me and said, oh my goodness, I can't believe there's someone talking about this. And they went to their doctor and asked for help instead of just sitting there in pain and discomfort. I've got messages from husbands saying, I wish I'd known that I could have helped my wife. I would have been so much more supportive. So it's that whole shame around our anatomy, particularly as females. But look, men have it too. We all grew up in Catholic Ireland. Sex wasn't talked about our bodies were shameful, but particularly women were taught to just put up and shut up, that they were women's issues. So
and
I
when
think
you
that,
look, sorry to interrupt you, but when you look globally around the world, I mean, we were very under the thumb of the Catholic Church, as we know, and it was such a huge part of Irish society. When you look in other places, like in France, in Spain, in Portugal, in the States, like a lot less shame and a lot more open talk, even in the 80s and early 90s, about women's bodies.
I think so. Like in France, for instance, if once a girl gets her period, she'll make a booking with her gynae, and she'll have that initial booking with a gynecologist. So it's from a very young age that they learn that their anatomy needs to be looked after. Like a lot of the time we don't see a gynae here in Ireland until we go and have a baby.
Yeah.
Or unless we have issues.
Yes.
So that is different. I think, in Europe in general, they tend to be a little bit more blasé about nakedness and about bodies in general. But I found in the UK that women have the same issues that we do, in terms of maybe not wanting to talk about it, a little bit ashamed. And I know from women living in, say, America, certain states, like sure you know yourself, so backwards, and then Canada as well. So I think in some countries it's absolutely the way it was in Ireland, and probably maybe even worse. And then in other countries they're a little bit more progressive. But I think every country can be more progressive when it comes to women's intimate health anyway, and actually not just see vaginas as sex and childbirth. Like vaginas are so much more. They're more about your overall health and well-being is reliant on you having good pelvic floor health, you having good vaginal health, and it can just make a woman's, not only her confidence grow, but it can also mean that she can work out, that she can work out well into her 80s and 90s, be independent, not be incontinent. So that's the whole basis of it, even though the tongue-in-cheek stuff is the sexy stuff.
Yeah. And I think, like, when you just say it like that, how much of our physical health, and I don't think we think about it like this, how much of our physical health and our intimate health is actually linked to our mental health and our confidence.
Lots.
Yeah.
So much. So if you, for instance, so we'll take like, a couple of different scenarios. If a woman is leaking, so 1 in 2 women will leak after menopause, regardless of whether they've had a baby or not. So that means urinary incontinence. We're not even going to fecal incontinence, but women do have fecal incontinence too. So if a woman is leaking, she's, and if she floods herself or leaks even, slightly, if walking 5 meters, it's unlikely she's going to want to go for a long run or a long walk.
Yeah.
She's not going to want to lift weights in the gym. If she's got a irritated vagina, dry, sore, atrophied vagina or vulval area, she's going to be uncomfortable. She's not going to want to work out or exercise. Or women that leak, they tend to retract from society. They need to know where the toilets are everywhere they go.
Like, not your decision on where to go out, where to meet friends.
Exactly. They won't get up and dance at a wedding. They'll wear dark trousers all the time. And then the intimate health side, if a woman is sore when she's having sex, she's going to reject sex. And then her partner will feel rejected. And then that drives a wedge in a relationship. Now, some relationships don't require sex, and that's perfectly fine. But some do, and some, it's very much the glue that keeps their relationship going. So if one partner feels rejected because one partner is in pain, and it can just drive a wedge, and then it can affect women's self-confidence as well. And it just takes one instance of a woman having uncomfortable sex for her to seize up the next time sex is on the cards, because her mind remembers that it was uncomfortable the last time and she just doesn't want to go there anymore. But it's also important to say that, like, sex isn't just about penetration. It can also be many other different things and intimacy. But yeah, so a woman's intimate health is affected, her self-confidence, her ability to exercise and stay strong. You and I both go on about how important exercise is.
Yep.
And what I say to women is, if you consider the muscles that you require to get up off the toilet after you've done a poo or a wee, right? Think of the muscles that are required there. They need to be strong when you're in your 80s, so you can do that in your 80s independently. So I think when you say it like that, if you say, do you want to wipe your own bum? Do you want to tie your own shoelaces? Do you want to do your own grocery shopping? That muscle function, bone strength is so important. And our bone strength declines as we age anyway because of estrogen. We get sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting anyway. So we need to keep those glutes going and squatting and all that. And if women are uncomfortable in their nether regions, if they're leaking, if they're dry, sore, irritated, they're not going to go there, and they won't live those independent, healthy lives. Like I've met women in their 90s and they're very sprightly and they're happy and they're so healthy and so cognitively there. But when they have, a red raw vulval area, it's very difficult for them to enjoy life.
And that was the thing when I listened to that interview with you and Tommy that night, that the years that woman put up with that, the years of getting misguided advice, taking the wrong medication, and all it took was somebody like you to point her in the right direction. Go to your doctor. She didn't even want to show the doctor her vulva.
Yeah.
And she had decades of that
I
pain.
know.
And how many more women
There's
suffered
so many.
at the hands
And then some will
of-
go to the doctor and the doctor won't examine them. So then the doctor can't tell what's wrong. So the doctor's
Why
just
won't
going,
the doctor examine them? Is
some
that
doctors just don't examine them. Like some doctors aren't. So like our GPs are fantastic in this country, but a lot of them, not a lot of them, but many of them would be maybe not necessarily educated in menopausal and intimate health. Okay. So they might just take what the woman says to them and say, okay, well, that sounds like thrush or that sounds like this, and prescribe them a thrush cream or an antibiotic tablet instead of looking at them. And if they look at them and examine them, they could see that maybe it's lichen sclerosis, which is where it's actually an autoimmune skin condition.
okay?
And, you know, the actual labia can almost look like they've melted into the vulval area. It just becomes like, really smooth
Okay.
and irritated and sore, and the vagina becomes tight. And so those things happen. I see that every day. So a woman might go to a doctor and just say, look, I saw online that vaginal estrogen might help me, and they're given the vaginal estrogen, but they're not examined. So actually getting to the root cause of the problem is the issue as well in some cases too. So there's many different factors as to why women aren't necessarily being looked after properly or being put into the correct care pathways.
Are we improving because we are talking about it more? We have people like you. We have people like Dr. Mary Ryan. We have a lot of people over the last couple of years. The fact that menopause was on Liveline with Joe Duffy for 2 weeks. Is it changing? And is it changing fast enough?
It would only be Ireland that the face of menopause would be a middle-aged man, wouldn't it? Joe Duffy. But he did do good work, and that really did set the conversation going.
It did.
There was only a few of us really talking about it prior to that. But it really did light a match under people's arses, didn't it? About the effects that it had. Because I think like one man wrote in or spoke. He wrote in, and then he was online. He was a farmer or something. He was talking about his wife, and I think when people saw, like, look, men want to know this information too. It isn't just about women's bodies. But I think we are getting better. I think the more information, the better. I think sometimes there's a lot of misinformation online though too, which we need to be careful about. But I do think that we are progressing, definitely. And look, even with young girls and their periods and stuff, they talk about them a lot more now. Like you see them on TikTok talking about their periods and things like that, whereas we wouldn't have done that years ago. So I think that there's still a disconnect. Maybe women 35 plus still grew up the way we did, where it was kind of a little bit not talked about, a little bit shameful. But hopefully if we're having these conversations now and the younger generation that are coming up, they'll hear them and they'll know how to help themselves. But then also their moms and grannies will tell them too, because that's the messages that I get. Like the people that come to my shows, there's like 4 generations of women coming to my shows. Sometimes it's like the great granny, the mother and the daughter, and they all love it. They all take something from it. But the resounding messages from the older women are like, I wish I'd known this.
Yeah.
Or I wish this information was available when I was having my babies or when I was going through menopause, because I actually would have been so much less miserable, and I would have known that it wasn't my fault and that there was help out there and I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, I mean, awful stories about, mothers and grandmothers, like feeling like that they were having some sort of nervous breakdown, early onset dementia, like really awful. And I can just imagine this is the Love Your Vulva shows that you've toured all around the country with. And when are you going again, by the way?
So I'm in Cork on the 12th of September.
Okay.
In the Cork Opera House. We have a matinee and an evening show then. And then we're doing the end of January 2027 back in the National Concert Hall.
And you see, this is what I love about them, right? Because you're known for your humour as well. You take the piss out of yourself. Your sister gets involved, like same on your Instagram page. There's so much humour and crack. Excuse the pun.
Literally.
But also it's creating that space again. It's a live show and an environment where you've got literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women, and you're talking about this like ordering a cup of coffee.
Yes.
You're talking about fannies and menopause and blood and
willies.
gushing and willies. and you've got everyone from 18 to 80 in the audience.
This is it. And actually
like, where do you get it?
88 is the oldest that I've known went 88 years old.
But who would have thought in Ireland?
know.
Do you know what I mean? That's what's so brilliant about it.
Well, do you know what actually, the reason why I started doing the live shows was because I was asked to do a few talks around the country for a women's wellness event. And I remember driving down to Athlone for the first event, and the facilitators just said to me, look, will you just talk about women's health? I said, well, what aspect? They're like, oh, look, anything you want. I was driving down going, okay, so we'll talk about diet, sleep, exercise, checking yourselves. I was like, oh, God, that's so fucking boring. I said, we need to grab these bitch's attention. Going to talk about orgasms. So I got up on stage and I said, my name's Laura, I'm a pharmacist, and the 5 main pillars of health are checking yourself, diet, sleep, exercise, and orgasms. And you
had them.
Pin drop. I had them. And I just circled back from the orgasms to intimate health, to vaginal health, anal itching, all of that. And there was a queue of women afterwards that wanted to talk to me. Like, some were like, I can't believe you talked about anal itching. I've had an itchy hole for the last 10 years and I thought I had worms, but actually could it be that it's a lack of estrogen? I'm going to go to my doctor like on Tuesday. And then I had some woman saying, I can't believe you actually spoke like that on stage. I've been leaking for years. I've been too embarrassed to tell my partner. I leak when I orgasm, so that then I'm rejecting sex, and I didn't know that I could get help. So then I was like, oh, I'm onto something here. So I just got bolder and bolder every talk. But the dildos the next time was swinging them around, and the women loved it. They were so there for it. And then I got asked to do a few corporate talks around the country as well with like Pfizer, Microsoft, those big guys. And I came back from one of them. Basically, everyone. So I did a talk for about 50 women. And every single one of them had a question for me afterwards. So I'm back to my husband that day. I went, we need to do a show. Like, we need to actually bring this around the country and do an actual show that's devoted to this, not just like a 30-minute talk.
Yeah.
And I said, and we need to call it Love Your Vulva. And he was like, fucking hell, Laura. It's like I've done everything that you've asked thus far, but this is maybe a little bit out there. And I said, well, you need people to know what it's about. So we did it. We couldn't get on the radio to promote it, but the women voted with their feet. Yeah, we couldn't get on the radio, particularly in Kerry. They wouldn't touch us. Jesus, we couldn't get any promo in Kerry on the radio or newspapers. But the women, like, it was a sellout. The women loved it.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Like, you think we're moving. So when was that? 3 years ago?
That was, my first one was 2024. So January 2024, it all kicked off.
Okay.
So we did those 3 around the country, Galway, Kerry, Cork. And then, because I was actually afraid to go to Dublin first, because I was like, God, the Dublin women, they have so much at their doorstep. They won't come, and it was kind of maybe a bit like that imposter syndrome. It's my, it's where I grew up and lived, and I'd be embarrassed if I couldn't sell it out type thing. It was stupid thinking. So then I thought, God, maybe I could do this in Dublin actually, because I've sold out everywhere else. So I phoned the National Concert Hall and I got in touch with Kathryn there, who's an amazing lady. And I phoned and I said, hi Kathryn, my name's Laura Dowling and I have a show around the country called Love Your Vulva. And I was wondering, could I maybe do something in the National Concert Hall? She goes, oh, sure, I know you, Laura. I follow you. And I think the stuff that you do is great. Just wondering though, will you keep the same name? And I was like, I don't really want to renege in the name, Kathryn, because it's kind of the whole thing. She goes, let me see what I can do. And she did it.
Well, I mean, when I saw the posters for Love Your Vulva in the National Concert Hall, I went, she has some set of balls, that one. And fair play.
I actually asked them, could we get a big projector, opposite the National Concert Hall and put a big vulva on a projector? So they drew the line at that. They're like, okay, now that's a little bit too much.
But in the listings, the listings, you get the little booklet.
Yeah.
And it's like Vivaldi's, whatever, the RT National Concert Hall. And then it's like, oh, Love Your Vulva.
I know.
Ooh. Different.
Yes. and it was great. So and then we had a matinee and an evening show this year and last year, and we have another one then coming up in January. So
can we go back to your husband Frank? I know you call him Mr. Fabulous, and this is what I'm always intrigued about as well, because you're the mom of teenage sons.
3 sons.
3 boys. Age?
So they're now 17, nearly 15 and 13. They're traumatized.
Now, that's what I was just going to say, because I am the mother of an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. I'm already absolutely mortifying my 8-year-old. But the boys, how do they cope with you?
I'd say there's going to be a lot of psychological visits to, therapists when they're in their 20s and 30s, and they're just going to blame all their problems on their mother. They're going to say, our mother is the reason why I, am this way. So look, initially for them, it was probably a little bit of a shock. And then, when they start school, the rumours go round. Oh,
she never stops talking about fannies.
She never stops talking about fannies. And then also, like, she dresses up in mad stuff. Like, sometimes she'll ski down a ski slope in a bikini and stuff. And then, but actually, then they kind of get over it. Like, I get a bit of guff initially, and then they kind of get over it. They see it for what it is. And I've always said to them, this is about women's health, guys. This isn't about being salacious for the sake of it. I'm not talking about things in a way that's derogatory or in a way that is not nice. This is information that women need. And look, they've been to the shows.
Have they?
And they've given out the goodie bags.
Okay.
And they see it. So they've seen it and they've seen the engagement, and they've also gone, oh my God, Mum, women are sex mad.
Like your vulva puppet, which you go everywhere with your vulva puppet. Where does that live in your house? Is that just on the kitchen counter?
So yes, but then, I don't want her to get dirty either. So there's a special little drawer for her. This one is a little bit battered. I do have a much plusher one. That's a bit nicer and less kind of frayed. This one has a few dog hairs on it. Imagine if you had dog hairs on your actual vulva. People would be asking you questions, wouldn't you?
Like you were brushing off dog hairs and stuff off my jacket this morning, but please not off me vulva.
So yeah, I bring her everywhere because you never know when you might need to give someone an anatomy lesson.
Right.
So, and also it's a great conversation, starter, or it's a great icebreaker. So yeah, so sometimes I'll just whip her out in Tesco's and, talk to, your man stacking the beans.
But
and say, do you know what this is?
I remember watching you. Were you at the races, or you were at Electric Picnic and you were going around on Instagram and you were going around with your vulva?
That was the Galway races.
The Galway races. And the amount of people women and men, but women who did not know the different parts of the vulva.
I know. But they know now, I think.
They absolutely know now. We all know now.
Yeah, and that is so interesting, isn't it? And that's why I think we have this shame around our bodies too, because we were never really taught about them. We're never given the proper names for our anatomy. So this whole area was usually called the vagina, when in actual fact it's the vulva. And there's labia majora, minora, and there's your clitoris. Did you ever learn about your clitoris in school?
Never.
And that it's the only organ in the human body that's designed solely for pleasure?
Never.
No. See, we never knew that.
Yeah.
And we were never taught that women don't need penetrative sex in order to orgasm. In actual fact, many of them don't need any penetrative sex at all to orgasm. They just need a little rub of the clitoris.
Yeah.
But yet, men are being taught by pornography specifically that they need to be bashing away, like going like the hammers. And we're not given proper education about pleasure, about women's bodies and what they need and what they desire. So we're all kind of grown up in this age where it's not spoken about, and then when things go wrong, then it's definitely not spoken about. But women will have clitoral shrinkage when they go through perimenopause and menopause. Like many of them will. Up to 80% of women will suffer from genitourinary syndrome of the menopause, which is basically like all those symptoms I described, like part thereof of them, not necessarily all of them in one go, but maybe your dry vagina, maybe your itchiness, painful sex, your regular urinary tract infections, incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse. And part of that is also clitoral shrinkage. So if your clitoris shrinks, how can you enjoy sex?
So if you are a woman who has always orgasmed through clitoral stimulation, and then your clitoris shrinks, is it possible that you just don't orgasm, or just it takes longer, or you don't orgasm at all?
It can take longer. Your clitoris can become desensitized. It can be more mild orgasms that aren't as enjoyable, or you just don't orgasm at all sometimes. But often there's remedies for that, as in just a little bit of vaginal estrogen applied to the clitoral area can just plump things back up again and get the blood flowing, and you're good to go after a couple of weeks. So it's about going to the doctor and having that conversation and discussing it rather than just kind of accepting it, because the whole thing of it as well is about female sexual desire can wax and wane too, particularly as their hormones shift. Like I remember a colleague of mine once saying, so she was going through the menopause. I know now she's going through the menopause. This is years ago. She goes, I would rather strip naked, run around Croke Park and stand on my head in front of that 70,000 crowd than have sex with my husband. That's the way I feel. And she loved her husband, but she just, the thought of it, so our libido can wax and wane too, and our desire for women is often a little bit different than that of a man.
Yeah.
Often men kind of don't need a huge amount of stimulation to get going, whereas women sometimes do. And then if your clitoris is shrunk as well as having low libido, like it's just a recipe for disaster for yourself, your self-confidence, your self-pleasure, and then also your partner.
I mean, I think one of the first times that we actually met, God love you sat down beside me at one of those fancy, were we at a charity? Was it an image?
It was VIP Awards.
It was the VIP Awards.
Yeah.
Does this happen often to you? Because you sat down beside me, I'd had a couple of glasses of wine, I don't know, were you driving? Anyway, and I was like, I don't know whether I should go on HRT. This was a couple of years ago, and I was like, the brain fog, the libido, and my husband is sitting next to me. And I'm like, no interest in sex, no interest in anything right now. Like, what do I do? Like, do you get that a lot from people? Like,
but that's okay. I love it. Because actually, I do love it because I love being able to help people because often there's a very simple solution.
Yeah. You actually dragged him into the conversation that night. I was
did.
like, no, this
like,
is just for the two of us.
Yeah, I did. I was like, so what's going on? Because it is important. Men do want to be part of the conversation. I think sometimes men are like put in one corner and going, oh, they don't need to know that. But if you don't understand your body, how can men? And then how can they support you through it? And the men that I've met, the men that come to my talks and that, they're like mouths open, agape. And then they come up to me afterwards and go, I wish I'd known this. Or they're off to tell their wife about vaginal estrogen because often they just want a healthy, happy wife and maybe a bit more sex. And sure, I'm giving them both.
Yes.
Sometimes, you know, that kind of way. So it's about information. It's so important. But I love women talking to me because actually that's where I learned everything. I learned everything on the pharmacy floor. I didn't learn anything that I'm doing now in pharmacy school in Trinity. It was all very academic. It was all about pharmacokinetics and about pharmaceutical chemistry, and maybe the pharmacology would stand to me, but it was very academic. You didn't do very much patient-facing stuff. I think it's changed now. They do a lot more patient-facing. But I learned everything that I know now from my 21 years on the floor, from talking to them. So it's only when you talk to them, and women just want to talk. They just want to open up. And if there's someone to listen to them.
Be honest. How long have you been putting off that health check? Don't worry, we are all guilty of it. But if you are ready to stop guessing and start taking control of your health, then Matter Private Health Check is a total game changer. Now, this isn't your basic GP visit. We are talking advanced diagnostics. We are talking mental health screenings and a VO2 max test to see how you are actually aging. From dealing with hormone health to toxic visceral fat, the Matter Private Health Check really goes into detail and looks at everything that you want to know more about. No GP referral needed, and you get your results really quickly in an easy to understand, personalised report. Health Check is available now in 2 Dublin locations, both located just off the M50. To learn more and book your appointment, just visit matterprivate.ie. Can we talk about estrogen? Because again, for people who are going through the menopause, perimenopause, and they're with their specialist, they're with their doctor, they'll know all about it. But for people who are, say, just kind of entering into that era, it sounds like estrogen is the magic cream, pill, whatever, for everything. That is kind of, it's as our estrogen depletes. Is estrogen something we should all be on?
So it depends, to be honest with you. So the current guidelines are estrogen should be given to women that are symptomatic. So symptomatic can be anything from you are flooding, or HRT in general. So it can be anything from your hot flashes to your low mood to just not feeling like yourself and that kind of thing. So it's really for symptoms control, particularly the hot flashes and things like that. But now we're kind of thinking, look, if a woman is getting on well with HRT and it's really improving her quality of life, then why shouldn't she stay on it long term? We used to think like the lowest dose possible for the shortest time possible, just to get her through the awful stage, and then she should be grand. And then it went to, maybe she should be on it for 5 years, and then it was like, look, 10 years is okay. But now we are thinking, look, maybe long term it is a good idea, so long as it's individualistic care. She's tipping in with the doctor regularly, they're having that discussion. The issue is that we don't have long-term data on it, because the last study that was done was the WHI study back in 2001. We know the effects that had. HRT prescribing fell off a cliff because it related HRT use to breast cancer, erroneously so. They were using older women in that study. They were using equine estrogen, which is horse pee, not like the estrogen that we have now, which is the body identical stuff, which is basically very much like the stuff our ovaries produces ourselves. So, but we don't have the long-term data, as in like, is it okay for everyone to be thrown on it and stay on it till the day they die?
Because they talk about how good it is for cognitive health, how good it is for bones, osteoporosis, how good, like it just...
So it is definitely good for bones. That is absolutely an absolute fact.
Yeah.
It is great for bones. And women that would maybe have bone issues or have, poor DEXA scans or have osteoporosis running in the family could definitely consider it. Because
even if they're not having any symptoms.
Well, if they are osteopenic or have osteoporosis, that could be a good idea for them to be put on it. Symptoms, you don't feel your bones depleting, but your DEXA scan will show you. So that could be a good reason for women to go on it. Obviously, if they have symptoms, it is too. The issue with the long-term studies is probably unlikely that we'll actually get this massive amount of women studied the whole way through, because it costs an awful lot of money. And the thing about estrogen is it's not a patentable drug. So it's just anyone can make it. It's like cheap to make. It's not a new novel compound. So the only newness that comes into it is the delivery system. So whether it's a spray, whether it's a patch, what the matrix of the patch looks like and how it's delivered into the system. That's where the patent is. So the pharma companies need to make money.
Yeah.
They want to have profits. So, you know, are they going to put the research and development into it? Unlikely. Could we get it on a government level? Maybe. Could it be a European-wide level? I was in the European Commission there a number of weeks ago, and we were talking about women's healthcare. So maybe if there was funding on a European-wide level with this could happen. But the issue is that doctors don't want to say, and rightfully so, they don't want to say, yeah, sure, just throw everyone on it. Sure, it'll be grand. Sure, it could show up then that there's issues later on and we just don't know about. But we've been unnecessarily scared off it, definitely, to date. I know that the conversations that are now happening are a little bit better and more positive around it. But I definitely do think that there's much more money and much more research that needs to go into it.
Okay.
We also have like a lack of updated education in terms of healthcare professionals too. Like I still have women coming to me saying, I'm 48, I've like 12 symptoms, but my doctor said not until my period stop. And I'm getting hot flashes. Will he prescribe me vagina? Will he prescribe me estrogen? Or you've patients going, my mother had breast cancer and they say that I can't get it. That's just not true. Or women that have gone through breast cancer being told that they can't use the vaginal estrogen, which is not true. Like it's been proven that it's safe for most women. Obviously, individualized care is really important, but it's just, we're still not there with a standardization of care when it comes to perimenopause and menopause for women, which is really unfortunate because you've Mary down the road that's going to Dr. Daly who gets amazing results because Dr. Daly's with it and on for it. And then you've, you know, Anne, her sister, that goes to Dr. Byrne, and Dr. Byrne isn't quite there when it comes to the menopause education piece. And she doesn't get the care that is necessary. So you have two women, same symptoms, same age, same profile, and they're getting looked after differently, which is really unfortunate.
Will it have made a difference now, a big difference in terms of uptake? I'm saying obviously because of the free HRT now.
Yeah, so I think that has definitely made a difference to women. And the fact that they can get it, you know, for free is wonderful. Obviously it's a certain age cohort and upwards. So it's like, there's women that are 35 that have gone through menopause as well, maybe due to cancer and that. And we need to be able to look after those as well. And then we need to see about even just expanding out the contraceptive scheme to women that are, you know, the contraceptive scheme is only for women of a certain age. So I think they think that women over the age of 35 don't have sex or can't get pregnant. So, you know, all of those things. But I think we need to do it in stages. Yeah, definitely. And obviously there's only so much money to spend. So it's like, where do we decide to spend our money? Women's health is obviously very, very important. But then there's the whole thinking like, so who's really benefiting from the HRT scheme? Is it the middle-aged, middle-class woman who's well educated, who can go to her doctor and demand it, versus the woman who may not be middle class, who may be poor, who isn't as well educated, who's just suffering through it? If she doesn't have the know-how to go and ask, will she be advised to get it, or will she be bothered? So there's still definitely a disparity in healthcare across the country. Like we know that, we see it every day.
Yeah. So there's a lot done, but more to do. A lot done, more
particularly
to do.
In those areas where women may not have that access to care or access to education about their bodies and are just suffering through it.
Yeah. And I think that's why your platform, again, is so good, because you can access women from all over the country, all different walks of life, all different backgrounds. And one of the things that I love is your confessions that you do. And
they're wild, aren't they?
You're kind of waiting for them. So I have asked you, like, because some weeks I'd miss them or whatever. So this is, you started it and you get some of the most wild confessions. Obviously, people trust you. They send them in completely anonymously, and you respect and make sure that
absolutely,
all anonymous.
Absolutely, and no one has access to my Instagram.
So, what are the confessions that, like, I'd say very little shocks you?
Very little shocks me,
Yeah.
So I do them every Sunday, have done for the last number of years. I just took a break there because I went to India at Christmas time, and I took a break one Sunday and I got awful abuse. Going,
where are the confessions?
I just uploaded my Instagram because it's the only time in the week that I actually allow myself to go on it. And where is it? You've disappointed me. So I realised that it is a thing. Lots of couples read it in bed on a Sunday morning as well. And, you know, and then some people say to me, I wait all day and I just binge them then in the evening time. So so they go up. I use the way on stories you can have 100 stories in one day, in 124 hours.
Oh, so right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can.
That's your limit.
Your limit is 100. Otherwise, it starts deleting the first stories.
Okay.
So I do 100 of them. So over the course of the Sunday.
100 will go up.
Yeah, so the minute I wake up, I put a question box up, and then even sometimes, sure, I'll wake up late on a Sunday if I, happen to have a fucking lie in the only the week, and people are messaging me going, "Where are the confessions?" Like it's 9:30 and they're not up yet. So yeah, so it's definitely a thing. So it's great, but I do get some wild stuff in.
Okay, well, tell me what are I've asked you to bring them in.
Yeah,
and
I
have
have
a little
to look
look
at them. I did have a go.
What are your most
So these are only
shocking ones?
So when you say the most shocking, like these are literally just last week's.
Okay.
So on long trips, I bring a vibrator for a break at motorway services. Love the risk of other people in the car park, and a little like water splash sign. Yep. And then like lots of in-law hate. So people, I can't get over the amount of hate for in-laws. My sister-in-law is pregnant. I'm looking forward to excluding her kid from our wedding like she did ours.
Oh my God.
And then
my
husband has erectile dysfunction. It's so hard because we're trying to conceive and I resent him for it. Any advice? So I do a lot of polls, and then sometimes I'll do advice as well. So I put up an advice box and I'll let the public advise the person, and then I share the advice stories. But that's a bit more hassle for me to do. So I prefer to do just the polls because it's easy. Like you flick a poll up and people can look at the polls.
Yeah.
But also if you don't click the poll, you won't see the answers. So on every poll, I have a little box saying just here for the answers, so they can click that and they'll see what the poll is.
Okay.
Because some people just don't want to give their opinion, or it's not applicable to them. But then some people get pissed off with the not just here for the answers box, and I get complaints about that saying, I don't understand why someone can't just simply give a yes or no, or an opinion.
Well, actually, on that erectile dysfunction, what did you advise? What did people advise?
So
can you remember?
So
Probably
going to the doctor, discussing it, maybe using Viagra, going to a doctor and seeing what the underlying cause of erectile dysfunction could be. The erectile dysfunction could be there because they're trying to conceive, and your man's like,
under
Jesus,
pressure.
I don't feel horny at all. I'm just thinking of the baby at the end of this, and I'm really under pressure. And sometimes they just need to take a daily Cialis, so a daily erectile dysfunction. A very small dose of it, so they're kind of ready to go whenever they need to, and they, whenever they get stimulated, rather than like I'd taken it half an hour before the ride.
Okay,
so that can be an option too. So going to a doctor will be one of those. I'm an alcoholic, I've kids, and I don't know how to stop or get help. That will be, someone. A lot of sexy ones. Oh, listen to this one. Sorry, now I'm on a roll now. I just watched the funeral online of the late mother-in-law of an old ex's from 30 years ago. Just to see him. My husband sent me a reel that says swallowing semen is good for aging and overall health. Like, yeah, fat chance I'm going to comment on that now.
I was going to say, as a healthcare professional, what's your
There's no evidence. There's no evidence.
There's no evidence. Okay.
Is it normal to fantasize during sex is it normal to fantasize during sex with DH, which is darling husband, or sometimes it could be dickhead, depending on the confession. If he's a bollocks, we usually decide that that's dickhead. So is it normal to fantasize during sex with DH to orgasm and not be in the moment with them? So that poll was yes, no, just here for the answers. So like an abundance of yeses.
Yes.
Like 80% of people are fantasizing with someone else. Tampon flushing. I used to flush mine until a septic tank clogged and my dad told me it was tampons.
Oh God.
People who call their parents mommy and daddy over the age of 25 are just weirdos. Just got the ride for the first time in nearly a year. I'm not waiting that long again. Someone saying they had anal sex for the first time and it was unbelievable. And then when I put that up, then another person goes, "Oh, I had anal sex once and never again." So, some people love responding to each other, and then some people want to out each other too. Like, listen to this. Ex-husband is shagging the married neighbour. Talk of the village, but I can hold my head up.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's stop at those, right?
Yeah.
Have you found, because they have become a thing, have you found that people are trying to guess who?
Yeah, like someone actually sent me a message and going like, I'm cheating with someone who follows you. I'm cheating on my husband with someone who follows you or something like that. And I'm like, Jesus, that's like, there's like 340,000 people there. You're not really narrowing it down, are you? But then some people will go, they will try and out people. They'll be like, oh, now this is just an example of an out. This isn't an actual confession, but this is how into detail it go. It'd be like the local TD of, say, this Fingal County Council, say, or whatever they're saying.
This is all made up, people.
This is all made up, but this is a typical.
My producer over there is sweating.
Yeah, this is a typical kind of like out, like with like this amount of kids of this age is, riding 3 women on the street, say, and we, and his wife doesn't know. Like, so, Like, do you really think I'm going
my-
to put that up? I'm not going to put up something that outs someone. Like, you
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
yeah.
moderate it so well because, and you know, you don't want to hurt feelings either.
Yes.
But then I get messages and going, oh my goodness, I put up a poll there about I'm in a relationship for 16 years and he still hasn't asked me to marry him and I don't know what to do. And the poll was, fucking tell him that you want to get married. And she goes, I'm so glad I did because then he proposed and we're getting married like in a week or something like that. So I get those as well. So I do feel we're like a little community helping each other out too, because obviously like the stuff that comes in, like I'm not qualified to answer the vast majority of them, you know, but if it's the public giving their opinion, it's fine.
It's fine. And you also said, and I've seen these ones as well, like somebody who they might have said something for the very first time, something in their life that was a very significant event.
Yeah.
And so you have the fun, you have the sexy ones, you have the
Yeah.
salacious ones. But like then you've got like sometimes they catch you and you go,
Oh, sometimes they're so sad. Like sometimes they're about sexual abuse, maybe childhood sexual abuse, and they say this is the first time I've said this.
said it out loud.
I was abused by, you know, my uncle from the age of 5 to 10 or something like that. And so what I will do with those, because they do come in, and that's why I actually wrote a chapter in my book about that, because so many women, like 50% of women have experienced sexual violence in some way, shape or form in their lives. That's a known statistic in Ireland.
50%? 50%?
Yeah,
I did not
a
know
CSO
that.
statistic. Yeah. Yeah. So it's huge. So sexual violence of some nature. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
I'm really taken aback by that.
Yeah, it's a huge statistic. So it's very, very prominent in society. And then obviously people feel deeply uncomfortable about any talk of sexual abuse or any talk of rape or anything like that. But it's something that, because it's uncomfortable, women and men that experience it, that are survivors, feel othered. They feel put in a corner. They feel people don't want to talk about it. So often that might be the first time that they say it. So what I will do with that is I'll put up a trigger warning on the slide beforehand. I'll say, look, the next slide is about sexual abuse. Flick through it if this might upset you.
Yeah.
And that gives people the opportunity to flick through, but then it also gives that person who wants to feel seen and heard, maybe for the first time, it gives them that.
Yeah,
know?
which is so important. Can I ask you, because obviously very recently we've had Louis Theroux's The Manosphere on Netflix. You are the mom of 3 teenage boys. It's a very strange time and difficult time, I think, for young men. I think for the parents of young men. And, you know, I've got lots of friends. I'm a girl mom, but I've got lots of friends who are kind of struggling. Like, really, there's so many gorgeous, brilliant men out there, you know, and I do think trying to navigate the world that we're in at the moment is a tricky one.
It is a tricky one. It is. I think the best thing as a mother of...
First of all, I'm going to interrupt you. Did you watch the documentary?
I did.
What did you think?
I thought the men that he was interviewing weren't very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen someone on Louis Theroux's level being interviewed that thought like that. But look, it is what it is. Now, actually, maybe one of them was, I think my boys were telling me actually one of them was actually very clever, but they come across as thick because they're just talking bull, yeah? I thought that it's worrying that there are men that think like that and that they have such young legions of fans. So you saw one of them went out onto the streets and it was like 14-year-olds talking about fucking women.
Yeah.
14-year-old talks like that.
Yeah.
But
that
yeah,
was what
very
I
scary.
found was the most harrowing thing to watch. You see these guys and they might, as you said, thick, and they're like doing it for the clicks and the clickbait, and they're outrageous for the sake of being outrageous.
And they're making money off the back of it. Like they're selling then crypto and stocks and all this kind of thing from it.
But then when they're walking down Marbella or Malaga or whatever it was, and you have very young kids coming up looking for autographs, wanting selfies with them, that's when you go, Jesus, this is the power that they have.
Yeah.
And this is where the danger is.
Yeah. And it's all about it's a bit like porn in a way, in terms of, it's the racier you get, the more clicks you get. Like we all hear about the hook, even just on Instagram. Like the 3-second hook is really good. So if someone punches you in the face at the start of a video, you're more likely to get people to be engaged in that. And porn has got violent like that as a result, because mainstream porn, like vanilla, or what's associated to be with vanilla sex, is just so boring for people to watch now. They just want violent, choking, all of this kind of stuff, is deep throat. All of this stuff is there for any child to access. And they're saying, like, kids are in Ireland, if you're actually not at the races if you think that your child over the age of 11 or 12 has not looked at porn or seen porn, because apparently it is everywhere. I was actually speaking to a member of European Parliament there recently. I did a podcast with her and she said, like, from 10 upwards they're accessing it. And it may not be on their own phone, but there's some child in the class, or there's some way they're accessing it, and they're seeing this real violence for the first time, and they think that's the way normal people do have sex. So I think that the manosphere is worrying and concerning. I think that education is key. I think as a mother of sons, I've always brought them up to understand what periods were, how women's bodies functioned, talked about consent with them in a really kind of open way, like consent even when they're playing with each other way, like you can't get into your man's, boys love scrapping anyway, but it's about being in someone's space and allowing them their space. And then just talking to them about with drink and drugs on board, things can happen and people can wake up the next day and deeply regret doing something, and you do not want to be involved with that. So about being cautious and safe, and all about consent and about caring. And if you're doing something with someone, you need to make sure that they're enjoying it just as much as you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what else can you do? It is scary. It's scary. The whole porn thing really is upsetting. It's really worrying. It's because girls think that that's normal for it to be done to them.
Yeah.
And boys think it's normal to do. They think that the girls expect that. And, some of them are turning up to a party thinking they're going to have a threesome because all they see on porn is 2 girls, 1 guy, or
and that's
2 guys, 1 girl.
And then I was reading an article in The Guardian there earlier this week, and it is about the femisphere now. This is the pink pill. So this is almost the reaction or the retaliation to the manosphere. And it's girls who are using men for sex, for money, getting into relationships, not for any emotional connection at all, just to get what they can out of them, the manipulation.
Really?
And you're kind of going, fuck, what happened to liking somebody? What happened to respect?
I know.
And
then also with the whole online dating and Tinder and that, and the fact that you can look at someone and decide with one swipe whether they're for you or not. I can't imagine what my emotions would be like if I was online on display and people were I don't know which way you swipe to reject someone, but
swipe right.
It sounds awful, and it's a numbers game as well. There's so much availability, so people can just try out someone and decide, I don't really like them, I'll just do someone. And the ghosting thing happens. People might go on dates, and that, in the confessions, people will say, I was talking to someone for ages online, they seemed amazing, arranged to meet up with them, and they cancelled the last minute, and now they've ghosted me. Or else people that have been in relationships and then they're ghosted.
Yeah. So
the fact that you can do that, and the fact that you can meet someone for a date and not really know them, and I know this is really old fashioned, and I know it just doesn't happen as much anymore, but the way you would have got to have known your husband from, I don't know, being in the same circles as him, maybe going out for dinner with a group of friends and meeting him in the pub. Whereas now they're meeting online, so it's all very transactional.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas before, he may have been a bit ugly or not very attractive, but once you got to know him, he was fucking gas crack, and then he's suddenly the most attractive man in the world.
Yeah,
and you just want to jump him.
I know. I remember when my sister and my friend Anna, and they were both on Tinder, and I'm in the middle of the couch, and they were going bang, 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 swipe, swipe, swipe. And I'm like, hold on. And hold on, what? Look, what? You don't know anything about him. You don't even know where he's from. Yeah, look, I don't like the look of him. Bang, bang, bang.
I know.
And it just
women are guilty of it as well.
100%.
Obviously, women and men are guilty of it. And women are guilty of the whole, a man has to be a certain height.
Yeah.
So a lot of men that wouldn't be of a very tall stature.
I couldn't go out with a short guy.
Rejected too.
I couldn't.
I know, but isn't that... I know you're saying that and you're being really honest, but if a man said I couldn't go out with a fat girl, what would you think of that?
I'd say he's an arsehole.
So you see, it's kind of the same principle.
I know.
So that short guy could be the man of your dreams, but you're not giving him a chance. That's fine. That's look, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And people are attracted to what people are attracted to.
Yeah.
But I have friends that have met short guys and absolutely had a wild time with them and loved them, but it was because they were able to
get so much hate now from the short guys.
But don't cut this out because I think it's really important. But
I have no intention of cutting it out.
But you were very honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole thing with today's society. People aren't given a chance because you have this idea of someone from just a profile or what they look like online. And the whole Instagram thing too. It's like, you're not going to show the fact that you had a Barney with your husband this morning and you called your kids.
Oh no, you live in a perfect world.
Assholes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know very many people to do that. So people think that people are living these really perfect lives.
Okay, so this podcast is called Are We There Yet? I think you've kind of answered this already, but when it comes to women's health, when it comes to intimate health, when it comes to menopause and education, we're not there yet.
We're not, but we're on the right track. And I think what's really important is we need to never stop talking about it. and we can do so with a smile on our face. We don't have to be loud and in people's faces as such about it. You can leave that to me. But we do need to never take it off the table, because look what's happening over in the States. Women's reproductive rights are being revoked in states. Abortion care is not being allowed.
Shocking.
And yes, we have the availability of termination of pregnancy here in Ireland currently, but that's not to say that if we took our eyes off the ball, that it may not be here in 10 years' time. We need to be really, really honest with ourselves about the fact that we need to always be pushing for excellence. And if we're always pushing for excellence, we can make sure then that the world is a better place for our grannies, our aunties, our mothers, ourselves, and then our daughters and granddaughters.
And our boys.
Absolutely. Because men, I love men. And some people think like I'm a mad feminist, but I'm a feminist insofar as I think women are great and we absolutely deserve to be at the table. But men are brilliant in their own way. And if we have men supporting us, good men supporting us, sure, we can take on the world.
100%.
And we work together. And that's what the whole manosphere, femisphere, Jesus, that just sounds awful. Because we were put on this earth to be together and to live together and to build societies together and raise families together. And once that divide starts, where does the world go?
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Laura Dowling, to you and your vulva. Thank you so much for coming into studio.
So much.
Be honest. How long have you been putting off that health check? Don't worry, we are all guilty of it. But if you are ready to stop guessing and start taking control of your health, then Matter Private Health Check is a total game changer. Now, this isn't your basic GP visit. We are talking advanced diagnostics. We are talking mental health screenings and a VO2 max test to see how you are actually aging. From dealing with hormone health to toxic visceral fat, the Matter Private Health Check really goes into detail and looks at everything that you want to know more about. No GP referral needed, and you get your results really quickly in an easy to understand personalised report. Health Check is available now in 2 Dublin locations, both located just off the M50. To learn more and book your appointment, just visit matterprivate.ie. You've been listening to Are We There Yet? Hosted by me, Kathryn Thomas. Visual design and video edit by Stephen King O'Farrell and Connor Daly. Music courtesy of Audio Network. Series producer Paul McGregor and executive producer Sasha Hamrogue. New episodes of Are We There Yet? Are released every Tuesday morning wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also watch this episode along on YouTube. Are We There Yet? With Kathryn Thomas is an Onyx original.